you are not losing your mind. But something is happening, and the explanation your doctor gives you, if they give you one at all, is almost certainly incomplete. You've had that moment. You walk into a room, stop, and realize you have no idea why you went in. Or it's the name of someone you've known for a decade that just evaporates the second you need it. Your doctor calls it a natural part of getting older. They are wrong. The real reason memory gets worse after 50 has almost nothing to do with age. Nobody talks about this part because the mechanism that actually drives cognitive decline in midlife is not a broken brain. It is a specific biological process you have been accidentally feeding, possibly twice a day, without knowing it. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what that mechanism is, the simple 3-hour window you need to close tonight, and the one morning protocol that locks in the results. Meet Veronica, 53, secondary school administrator. She has worked with the same students for years, knows their families, their histories. 2 years ago, she started blanking on their names. Not always, just enough to notice. She would be mid-sentence and the name would simply not be there. She laughed it off. She called it stress. She bought the supplements, she tried the brain training apps, she drank more water, she did the crosswords. Nothing changed. Because Veronica was not dealing with a lack of mental exercise, she was dealing with a biological wildfire she was accidentally refueling every single night. If you have tried the vitamins, the better sleep hygiene, the caffeine, and you still feel like your brain is thinning out, this is not a willpower problem. It is a mechanism problem. And that mechanism has a name. Before I go further, let me explain something. The inflammation cascade. In the health world, inflammation is a buzzword. Mechanically, it is something far more specific and far more dangerous. Your immune system misfires. Instead of responding to a genuine threat and standing down, it stays active, a low-grade war running in the background all the time inside your brain tissue. Think of it like a car alarm that never turns off. The battery drains, the neighborhood stops paying attention. Eventually, the alarm is the problem, not whatever triggered it originally. In your brain, this means the cells responsible for clearing neural waste stop cleaning and start attacking. Memory cannot be consolidated while the brain is busy fighting a war with itself. The reason this matters here is that this is the mechanism behind the brain fog, the tip of the tongue moments, the walking into rooms and forgetting why you went. It is not age. It is fire that nobody put out. Now here is the part most people miss entirely. Most of us think memory happens in the moment. You see a face, you hear a name, you store it. But memory is actually a construction project that happens while you sleep. Your brain runs a wash cycle, the lymphatic system that clears the metabolic waste that accumulates during the day. Amyloid, tau proteins, the cellular debris of thinking. This wash cycle operates almost exclusively during deep sleep. And here is what shuts it down. A 2021 study published in the journal Nature Aging found that chronic neuroinflammation is one of the strongest predictors of memory decline in adults over 45. Not genetics, not age, inflammation. And a 2024 meta-analysis on circadian time nutrition identified the specific trigger most people never suspect. When you eat within 3 hours of going to bed, you force an insulin spike that interrupts the lymphatic wash cycle at precisely the moment your brain needs it most. I call this the 3-hour synaptic barrier. If there is food processing in your system, when your head hits the pillow, your brain is managing metabolism instead of performing maintenance. The memories from that day, the names, the details, the faces do not get filed properly. They get lost in the noise. I'll be honest, when I started pulling research for this, I was going to talk about sleep hygiene and vitamin D. Standard stuff. But at around 2 in the morning last Tuesday, I came across that circadian nutrition meta-analysis and the frame shifted completely because the evening eating window is upstream of everything else. The sleep problem, the brain fog, the morning heaviness behind your eyes, it all flows from this. So we are going somewhere different now. I can already see the comments someone is typing right now, but what if I need to eat late because of my schedule? I thought the same thing. But here is what the research actually shows. For most people over 50, the hunger felt in the evening is not a caloric need. It is a cortisol spike, the brain under metabolic stress, reaching for the fastest available fuel. You are eating to quiet the stress that the late night eating is causing. It is a loop. And it is a loop the food and technology industries have spent considerable money making sure you stay inside, actually stop what you are doing for a second. This next part is the reason the whole video exists. The mechanism is not just about not eating. It connects to something called metabolic flexibility. Your brain is a hybrid engine. It can run on glucose, or it can run on ketones, fat-derived fuel. In a metabolically healthy brain, the switch between the two is seamless. As we age, and as we consistently flood our system with evening glucose, we lose that flexibility. The brain becomes glucose dependent. When your blood sugar drops at 3 in the afternoon, a flexible brain switches fuel sources smoothly. A glucose-dependent brain does not switch, it crashes. That tip of the tongue feeling, that heaviness behind your eyes by 4 o'clock, that is not age. That is your brain running out of the only fuel it still knows how to use. By closing the 3-hour synaptic barrier tonight, you begin forcing the brain to relearn how to burn fat for fuel overnight. You are retraining the engine. Dr. David Sinclair at Harvard has spent 2 decades documenting what happens inside your body when this metabolic flexibility is restored. The cognitive improvements are not subtle. Now, here is what I almost left out. Because it sounds too simple and I did not want it to undercut everything else, closing the evening window is only half the protocol. If you stop eating 3 hours before bed but wake up and immediately spike your blood sugar with refined carbohydrates, you create a rebound inflammation event that partially reverses the overnight repair. The piece that locks in the memory gains is what I call the protein anchor. Your first meal needs a minimum of 30 grams of protein, 2 eggs, a small handful of walnuts, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil if you can incorporate it. Protein and fat do not spike blood sugar. They do not prolong cortisol. The fire does not get fed. As always, if you have type 2 diabetes or any metabolic condition, run these changes by your physician before adjusting your eating windows. This mechanism applies broadly, but how it interacts with your specific biology is a conversation for you and your doctor. Veronica changed these 2 things, the evening window and the morning anchor. Within 6 weeks, the tip of the tongue moments had dropped to almost nothing. Not gone, almost nothing. That is not a miracle. That is a mechanism working correctly. I almost wish I hadn't found this data. Because once you understand that most of what we call age-related memory decline is actually metabolic timing friction engineered, in large part, by industries that profit from the confusion, you cannot go back to blaming your birthday. You are stuck with the responsibility of this knowledge now, just like I am. Think about who you were 10 years ago. You did not have to try to remember. It just happened. You were not someone who needed a list for 3 items. That version of you is not gone. They are buried under years of metabolic noise. If you are someone who takes your long-term cognitive health seriously enough to understand what is actually happening inside your brain, this is what that looks like. Most people never get here. If you want to understand your body at the level your doctor rarely has time to explain, subscribe. We go this deep every single week. I wish I had known this sooner, and if that is what you are feeling right now, send this to the person in your life who is laughing off their senior moments and quietly terrified underneath. They need the mechanism, not the reassurance. Save this video. The protocol is specific enough that you will want it the next time your evening routine starts slipping. Your saved videos are in your library tab. Tonight, one thing. Look at the clock when you finish your last bite of food. If you are going to bed at 10, you must be finished by 7. No crackers, no juice, water only. Do this for 7 days. Track how many tip of the tongue moments you have on day 8. You are not someone who is just getting older. You are someone who now understands the clock inside your cells. The question I keep sitting with, and I do not have a clean answer, is why this is not the first thing anyone is told at 50. Not the last. Now that you understand how glucose timing is affecting your memory, you need to understand what it is doing to your gut overnight. Because that connection is why the inflammation keeps coming back even when you change your diet and sleep 8 hours. That video is right here. What health advice have you been following for years that you now think might be wrong or incomplete? Drop it in the comments. I want to see the pattern because it might be worth its own video.